Welcome back, YouTube. One of the most common questions that I get is, when should I sell Dogecoin and at what price should I sell? What do I do after Dogecoin hits $1? Well, today I'm going to answer some of those take profit questions and give you a little insight into what I'm doing. Doge will be and already has been extremely rewarding for early investors. But eventually, as we increase utility and Dogecoin becomes more of a currency, the spikes that we're seeing right now, eventually they won't be as rewarding. I say this because I'm currently at about 1,400% profit on Dogecoin. A regular currency can't do that. If you have $20 and you simply hold it, it's not going to get you a 1,400% return. This is the main reason why I say you should be buying as many coins as possible right now, but we'll get to that later. Diamond hands are fundamental. I can't tell you personally when to sell, but I'm going to go over the scenarios because you should always plan your exit. Let's talk about it. I often say I like to focus on percentages rather than the actual dollar amount. In a case for Doge, like sell-offs, we have to understand that people will sell at different points. I mentioned that as a community, we can work together and get everyone to win for the most part through a controlled release in an earlier video. And this is simply stating that instead of like shares, we can focus on like a certain percentage or a share amount. If there's too many whales at that point, like liquidate 20% of your portfolio to prevent this from being a race to the bottom. The only issue with that is I've never seen that type of cooperation within a share or a coin. And I've also never seen a community like the one that we have here at Dogecoin. It's going to be interesting to see if we can work together and pull this off, because if we're not careful, what we're going to see is a massive sell-off, and we're going to have something like a Bitcoin correction where we lose 50 to 80%, like relatively in a day. This scenario, of course, is without high utilization. This is simply just through like marketing and certain events, like what we have like with the SNL promotion or the SpaceX landing, that we just decide to take profits there. This is without high utilization or it becoming like a currency through like major retailers. Without the high utilization, we will see a pullback at some point anyway. I believe we'll have a couple, one around the dollar mark if we can get there prior to the SpaceX landing, which I do believe we will. And also sometime around the moon landing, we'll have a pullback as well, in my opinion. While most common holders have a team spirit and are very energetic and excited about going to the moon together, history has shown that whales don't typically subscribe to that belief. For us, you've got 1,000% on a coin or stock, and you've managed to turn a few $100s into thousands or thousands of dollars into tens of thousands. But for a whale, this is going to be a little different. You turn tens of thousands into hundreds or hundreds of thousands into millions, and as the stock or the crypto continues to go up, the only thing that you see increasing along with that is your risk. I do believe that for the most part, the common shareholders are in control of the price of Doge. I've seen like a lot of the resistance over the weekend with the SNL crash, and the floors that I pointed out, they indeed did hold up, and we saw a bounce back up. So I don't believe that the common shareholders did a massive sell-off. I believe that was a few of the whales, because the floors held up and people continue to buy back in and reinvest at those points. I'm very proud of the Dogecoin community, and even the one that I'm building here on YouTube. I'm not sure if I've ever seen any type of group that's been that like supportive and sharing posts with each other. And I just really want to maintain that as we move on to higher numbers and higher profit margins. That's my biggest nightmare, is that don't hold will eventually turn into don't sell before I do. And I know that sometimes things change when money gets involved, and that's why I make these videos, so that we can stay on the same page and move together as a unit. And I don't want us to take on that approach that the whales typically have, as far as for the enjoyment that we have as far as for going to the moon together, and the post and the engagement that we're sharing together. And it just kind of turns into every man for himself scenario. So if we can't get anyone on board or enough people on board to do the controlled release, I thought about something. What if we just do the OI approach, which is the original investment? So you pretty much would leave your profits in Dogecoin, and everyone takes out their original investment, and that way that'll prevent a harsh market correction. We can discuss as a community to set like a certain range, 20 to 40%. And at that time, you pull out your original investment. And at that time, technically you're playing with house money, and you can kind of see where it goes. And I think this will help add like some stability. I think this will ease the tension of like some paper hands out there as far as for losing all of their money. So pretty much, hey, you got your money back and you're playing with profits right now. The third option is what usually happens, and is what's most likely to happen. And that's pretty much when everyone sells when they feel like it. And that's just fancy lingo for they take profits when their diamond hands turn into cubic zirconium. Is that necessarily a bad thing? No, not really. It's normal, but it's also why crypto is extremely vital. We are seeing some volatility in Dogecoin, but I believe the only reason we're not seeing those really high crashes that we typically see with cryptocurrencies is because of the community of Dogecoin. And the community motto is pretty much hold. And I believe that community spirit and that motto in the community is holding Dogecoin together. So we may see some cooperation, but typically in markets, people sell when they want to. We're on a huge bull run here, and I understand that people invest with the intention of taking profit at some point in the future, or whether it's themselves or for their kids. But we have to understand that as the prices increase and as we increase utility, we're going to get a lot of new money coming in. And we may not have that type of cooperation with the new investors and in the community spirit that we have now. And that's really our job, to keep that community spirit alive. Otherwise, we'll lose the community spirit, and we'll just pretty much get into that extreme high volatility that we see with other cryptos, and pretty much will be more than likely in a scenario where people are just selling when it feels like it, and we'll have those wild swings that we saw with cryptos like Bitcoin and stuff earlier on. I still believe that Dogecoin will be extremely rewarding for all of the early investors. And at that point, well, at the point of this video, I believe that is anything below 75 cents. These are my very strong opinions on the sell-offs that we're going to see with Dogecoin. And the most likely is obviously people selling when they want. But if we're going to have an approach where most people can win or most people can get to the moon, we'll have to do something along the lines of the controlled release. To my knowledge, I haven't seen it done before, and I don't believe it's above the Dogecoin community, but as it grows, it's going to be harder to get that amount of people on the same page. But I do not believe it's above us. Personally, I'm not selling anything right now. I was using a couple of the current events. I'm sure there'll be more added, and I'll provide updates at that time. But one of them was the SNL approach and the SpaceX landing. The approach that I had for SNL, I made a post a few days before saying that we're going to see it be pretty aggressive, whether it goes up or down, whichever direction it trends, it's going to be pretty aggressive. But I made a video speaking about the floors, and that if the floors held up, this would be pretty healthy for Dogecoin. It would be a great indicator for the direction that we're going. And the floors did indeed hold up, really in the same area that I pointed them out, which is like fantastic. We didn't break through to the second floor. The first floor held up, and we got a rebound, which is really healthy for Dogecoin. So I'm still holding as we get increased utility, and we look forward to the moon landing, and as celebrities continue to come on and they spread influence, and we kind of build an audience globally. Influence and utility are extremely powerful things. It's pretty much what they use to market to us. So I know it'll work for Dogecoin as well, as far as for marketing to businesses in other countries around the world. I believe that as we see the increased utility, and as people, as Dogecoin gains, I believe that as we see the increased utility and as Dogecoin gains traction around the world, that we're going to see prices above $1, which is why I believe that anything under 75 cents is a good return, because that 75 to $1, $1.25 spread, that will get you at least a 25% spread in the short term. Because we don't know what the future holds, and we could see some different changes as far as like with the devs with Dogecoin. We don't know. So again, I believe it's just more rewarding to have as many coins as possible, and to increase your percentages as far as to take profits despite short term or long term. I think that the amount of coins you have matter more. I think that as a community, this needs to be discussed more. So please let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on selling and when? I think that as a community, we need to cooperate on this and kind of get an idea of where everyone is at. So just please let me know in the comments. I appreciate all of you. If you have diamond hands, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. My ultimate goal is going to be 50,000 subscribers by July, but by the end of May, we're shooting for 25,000. I have my long-term and my short-term goals on there. So if you'd like to be a part of the community and help out with that, please consider subscribing. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to put my links to my social media up here. I'm going to start going live here very frequently so I can answer some of your questions more directly. You can reach me on Instagram. I am David Mitchell Jr. and on Twitter at JR David Mitchell. I look forward to engaging with all of you. Thank you, and until next time.